Hola a todos. Hi everyone. Carla here, your coach and trainer of NLP and host of this Metafit Metamind podcast, the place where we normalize the conversations between both physical and mental health. This is a place where you'll raise your voice and share your story. As your coach, I'm here to guide you to let go of all your limiting chains behind, and I'm on this mission to empower and create awareness and expansion in your life. You can follow us on Instagram at Metafit Metamind Podcast, on my other page at Coach Carlita. Make sure to go listen to the podcast wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Like them, rate them, subscribe to them, and also make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel. Hey, thanks so much for coming back to the channel and just continuing to watch these videos, these episodes, and any of the other videos that I create. Something that I've been thinking about and I want to give more of is updates of what is going on in Metafit Metamind in this world, right? Because I always have something being created. That's just how my mind works, and I love it because I can always, just have more and more ideas and just more excitement to continue this growth. So here's a few updates that I wanted to share with you. So the first update is that something that was a goal of mine earlier this year was to create really powerful connections and community. And so I've been partnering up with some really cool people, and I've got some really cool announcements coming up. So that's the first announcement, that I will have announcements coming up. Weird, right? But that's what it is. The second update that I want to share with you is that the retreat that was supposed to happen this year, if you know about it, if you don't, here we go. There is a retreat happening that I'm hosting with my good friend Ashton Lynn Rondon, who is the owner and founder of Women Who Work and that nonprofit organization that she has of Women Without Limits. The Fit Mind and Spirit retreat is happening March 23rd to the 27th. And guess what? It's an international retreat happening in El Salvador. So it's going to be a really beautiful experience. So if you are a leading queen who has felt like you need some R&R, some off time, some really honestly self-growth time, then this is the place for you. We're going to be having some really powerful workshops, breakthroughs, connections, and all that kind of thing, that beautiful in a beautiful space. And I'm really excited about it because it's going to be a experience to remember. And so when you do register for this, then you will come out with clarity, with vision, with just excitement for what's next, or honestly just feeling rested, because that's what you needed. The other update that I have is that I'm creating an online certification training for you if you want to be an NLP coach and practitioner. That's going to be happening this November, date coming soon. And the final update is, as you know, this week I shared on my Facebook, social media platforms about this journey, this mindset thing, and I talked about it in a few other episodes and a few other videos. And so I partnered with this really cool company called Amare. I'm going to show you the logo. And this is something that I'm starting to and my lifestyle, right? These supplements to continue to support my health, my gut brain connection, because a lot of things do come from the gut. And as I am someone who helps people let go of those stuck negative emotions, the first emotion that we work on is anger, which, where do you think that comes from? The gut. So a lot of your neurology, your neurons can fire up there. So this is something that I'm doing to continue my health, my health journey, honestly, and that support system. So I'm really excited. I'll keep telling you about this journey. Today is my second day on it, and honestly, so far so good. And I'll just give you updates because this is a lifestyle, as I said. So that's what I have for these updates. So if you have any questions on any of the stuff that is going on, make sure that you send me an email or just message me on Instagram, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. And so for those of you that listen to the podcast, thank you so much for listening to the podcast and, liking or rating the podcast and subscribing to it. And also, if you have come back to watch these videos, then thank you so much for continuing this support as well, because this is going to help me out a lot and is going to give me feedback on what kind of content you actually enjoy. So again, make sure that you like this video and subscribe to the channel. So in this episode, something that has been kind of ruminating in my mind and that I've had in there for a while is this process, right, that we are on of entrepreneurship or of growing in your career as a professional person in the corporate world, possibly, whatever that is. is that there's a lot of thoughts that come to mind as growth happens. And so something that I'm going to share with you is that a few years ago, actually more than a few years ago, I graduated from college, and I actually graduated with a degree in French. I know, right? And yeah, so I got the degree in French. Didn't really have guidance, didn't really know what I was going to do with it, but I just knew that language is key in my life. And oui, je parle un peu de français, mais je sais pas si ma prononciation ou ma grammaire est bien ou mal. Oui. So I'm not going to keep going because this is not a French thing. But, this is just something that I know that I have, and it's just about practicing that, right? And the conversation here is about expertise. And so I went to college to get my French degree. I did that for years. I actually studied French in high school for, I would years, because honestly, freshman year was kind of crappy with how we learned French, that my sophomore year teacher had to basically start us from scratch, which was insane. I didn't use my degree right away. Right when I was about to graduate from college, I was hired actually by an architect who, rest in peace, he was the first best boss leader who I had, who gave me opportunity, and he showed me how to treat people. First of all, he honestly who taught me many things, and he was an expert in his field. And first of all, I'm going to read my notes really quick and tell you what is an expert in this process, right? So it's a person who has a special skill or knowledge in some particular field or specialist or authority. And so, as I said, he was very successful in his first year of being an architect, because he worked and he worked and he worked and he made shit happen. And most people thought he should not have been able to make this possible, but he did. He showed me that things are possible when you start and when you're really passionate about it. And he practiced his craft. So what William taught me in that process too was not only leadership and how to treat people, but also the systems. When it came to, we were here in Austin, so he taught me the systems of City of Austin to submit permits and projects and how to manage all of that. So I actually got pretty good at that process, and going through learning how to even read architectural plans, right, which is really cool because that's not something that I actually learned in college. And at that time, as I said, I got pretty good at this thing of permit processing. But a year in, there was this opportunity that I found of possibly using my degree. And I said, well, I got my French degree, I should probably use it. And at the same time, thinking about William and him being the best first boss I ever had, not that I had never worked at, but the actual one who I actually thought was a leader, was the feelings of remorse and guilt and shame, because he helped me so much. And then for me to think I'm going to go, leave this that he helped me create was kind of tricky. It was a little hard, to be honest. But eventually that led me to making the decision of leaving and just going to this new thing, this new opportunity, which is a really cool opportunity, will I say. And guess what? A year later, we all got let go from that company. We were notified about 2 weeks before that was happening. And I said, wow, can't believe that happened. And it did. And I honestly, at the time, he wasn't hiring anymore. He had somebody else, which is fine. I was a little mad about it, no lie there. But, he's not going to wait a year. And so I went to work with an engineer, and my husband had actually been working with him already. And they needed someone with my expertise to permit processes and to put everything together as a project when it came to engineering. And going into this process, I learned a lot. So I added more to my knowledge of land development and reading engineering plans as well. Not long after that, that guy wasn't a great boss, but that's not the point here. So maybe a year and a half later, I went and worked with another guy who had been working as a permit expediter for more than 20 years, honestly. And he taught me a lot, and he was very detailed, very super good at making projects successful. And I learned a lot from him. I felt like I wasn't good enough, that I didn't have enough knowledge. And you could have said, yeah, Carla, like go learn more, go get the knowledge that you need. But I knew a lot, right? And I kept asking questions and I kept learning. So there was never a thought of I know it all. But then I felt like it wasn't my place. And I was actually told that I could start my own company with the knowledge that I had. But there was a fear there. What the heck again? So this whole time, I never believed myself to be an expert. And people saw it, but I didn't. So what is the purpose of me sharing this? Did I quit the industry, went on to do what I love as a coach and everything like that? No, not at all. But it's more about a conversation that I had with some women earlier this week, who this message of what if I don't come off as an expert shows up? What if I don't feel like I'm an expert? What if they don't hire me because I don't have these years and years and years of experience, right? When we start off as a coach, we don't have fucking like years and years and years of experience. And what I would tell you is that throughout our life, we're always experiencing something personally, professionally, spiritually, health, all those areas. And whether or not we know it, we are taking that information in and it's going in and we're attaining that knowledge. And that is a type of expertise. And so in this process, there's a few things that I want to share with you that I learned from several of my coaches when it comes off to coming off as an expert. The first one is that you can use your past work experience as an add-on to your title, to your description, to that expertise. For example, I can tell you that I have worked with a multi-million-dollar wellness company to help clients find their healing journey towards wholeness by letting go of their stuck negative emotions, right? The other professional expertise that I can share with you is that I have also worked and I have the knowledge to guide and certify other coaches in this area of NLP. I've done this, the certifications and everything, but I also worked with a company who's very successful at this as well. So that is one thing that you can use, is this past work experience, because that is an expertise of yours, right? It's like in elementary school, we learn Microsoft Word, Excel, or maybe middle school. And we learn all of this stuff. This is part of our expertise. It goes into your job descriptions. It goes into your career coaching experience, or in your life coaching experience, or in whatever other experience that you're using this for. Yeah. The second thing that I can share with you is that you have to practice certainty. People can sense whether you have the confidence inside or if you have questions, right? They can sense it by your physiology, by your tone of voice. That is something that you have to practice. So if you go into conversations and be like, oh my God, like I'm so nervous, I'm going to meet people will sense that. And then a conversation is a little harder to have. Now, you have to learn how to build rapport as well, right? And practice that certainty. So an example is that if you get into sales calls, through your tone, people can sense if you are very confident at what you are sharing and offering, or if you are not, or if you have questions on your offer or what they would get. Yeah. And so certainty is so important when it comes to coming off as an expert, because let's say I started as a coach yesterday, but I know how to practice certainty. I can potentially have somebody close with me because of that energy, because they are confident that I'm confident to guide them towards their transformation. And so that is a type of expertise. You have to implement it. Even if you don't believe it, you have to try it out anyway. The last thing when it comes to coming off as an expert is that you can ask for help. And just remember that you are human. So part of that is being truthful and honest in your journey, in your expertise, right? I tend to say to my clients that I too feel emotions, that I too go through these challenges. And people actually appreciate that vulnerability, that truthfulness, because they see that you're putting trust in them. So of course they're going to put trust in you. You gave them something of you, so why wouldn't give you something back? That is something that wouldn't happen. So when you come off as an expert, it's because you're also sharing all the things that you're doing, all the journeys, all the steps, and they don't have to be in detail, but you're sharing more of yourself than most people would think. And so by sharing these challenges and these growths, people want to work with you. People say she is an expert because she's gone through this process already, right? I always share that as someone who is Latina, who has lived in the ghetto, who live in front of a drug dealer's house. She is now having and creating her own business. She has her own business, and it's possible. You don't have to stay with that comfort that everybody says that you should, that social norm, right? So that is something that people appreciate. And so that is just a type of model of excellence, at least in my opinion, right? And so, as I mentioned before, I worked in land development after college, and I'm still good at it. And now I believe it. I believe that I'm really good at that type of work. And with that belief, I get called still to get help with projects. And do I take them? No, because the type of work doesn't fully resonate with me any longer. But it's nice to know that people call you because you did something really good at some point, or that you knew or had a lot of knowledge. And so now, thinking back, I'm like, I was an expert and I am an expert now. And even if I don't practice fully all the time, I can just go and look at the information and learn it pretty quick. So that's how you can come off as an expert. One, use your past experiences where you've worked as part of your title and description. The second one is to come in with certainty. Practice the certainty because people sense it. And the third one is to be truthful and honest and vulnerable, because that is how people connect, because they see that journey as well, that you've gone through something similar and they too, right? And so you connect. And now, when it comes to being a trainer and a coach, I know what I have to offer. I know who I have learned from, who I'm learning from now, and I can tell you that I continue to learn. Yeah, I don't come off as I know it all, because I know there's more to the summit, that I continue to gain more knowledge. And so remember that in this journey, it's about being curious, right? And trying out those things that may seem a little scary and crazy, and do the things, right? Because you have to take the feedback. You are the expert because you have your own expertise through life. And honestly, we can all learn from each other. So I hope this episode was a good one, that it served you in some way. And if you feel like you can share this with anybody, please do. So I just wanted to say thank you so much for listening and watching up to this point. There is so much more that I want to share with you, and I hope that you liked this video. So make sure you like it and subscribe. So with that being said, till next time.